press play? Man, talk about the snow, huh? Like 6 feet out there.
Right. Hey everybody, what's going on? Will and Chris here with Tangible Triumph, life, inspiration, motivation. As we're at the Loaded Goat, shout out to them, located on Church Street in Naugatuck. Don't forget to listen to the keyword today for our 5 free coffees. And since we talked about balance this week, what did the balance really mean to you this week, Will?
So when you really think of the word balance, it's a tough concept to grasp, and I don't think it's necessarily realized how important balance is. And when you think about balance, you think about standing on one foot, right? Something you touched on a little bit. The guy walking the tightrope. Balance, you need balance physically, you need balance mentally, and you need balance spiritually. And you talked about the mental balance this week.
Yeah. Talk about the mental balance and really touch base on me is like the whole focus on the yin yang. Yep. And I'm really into Western cultures and Western philosophies, and you're starting to see that in my videos now. And they really focus on balance, and it's on the Eastern side of things. We tend to forget about the balance. We tend to do one side more than the other.
Sure. I think that's a societal thing.
Yeah.
Our society is so in tune with themselves and go. Let me take. And that's one thing I talked about this week, right? We have a taking culture. Let me take more. Well, what about the giving aspect?
Yep.
You need to give and take equally, which is where the balance comes in. If you're too much of a taker, what do you really have to offer? And then you have the people that give too much that burn themselves out.
Yeah.
And that touches on the physical balance that I spoke of all week.
Yeah.
Our body is a biological machine. And you need to oil your machine, you need to tend to your machine, and you even need to take that mental balance that you talked about and fine tune it every so often so that you're copacetic. Your body's moving as it should. One part's working with the next,
Oh yeah. I mean, when we're talking about balance this week in one's mind, you don't know a loss unless you've won before.
Right.
You don't know a win unless you experience a loss before.
Right.
And I'm saying that just because there's always gonna be an opposite of a subject.
Sure.
And you need to not go overboard on either spectrum of the pole.
Right.
Because if you go too hard and try to, one of my favorite good videos that I watch is Alan Watts, and he says, a person who seeks out a psychiatrist should really go get his head examined.
Sure. Which, come on, it's only the truth.
And it just shows you that, just sometimes even trying is going to do the opposite effect than just letting it flow, and which I talked about in one of my videos. And, back to the man on the tightrope. The man on the tightrope is one with the universe, and
right.
He lets it flow to get across and not plummet to his death. And that's where the balance comes into play. He's centered with himself and centered with the universe.
Well, and if he's too focused on the ground, guess where you're going to head?
Yeah,
the ground. That's it. And, not to bring a pessimistic view into our content or anything like that, but my belief system is a realist belief system. And you need to see the pessimistic side of the world, and you have to see the negativity of the world to appreciate the good.
Oh yeah.
And that's a reality check.
That's just because without the bad, there is no good.
Right.
And without the good, there is no bad.
Absolutely. And there's no gauge to actually determine what good is and what bad is. If there was neither of the other, you wouldn't have one.
Well, that goes on to perception, as
Sure.
in what you're going to take out of the whole process.
Yep.
negative things might happen to you, but that's a positive thing for another person. And then when we talk about values, and it breaks it down to where your values lie.
Right.
And so on and so forth. You know, you can't gain anything without lost something, right?
Correct. And honestly, that kind of segues right into I talked about it. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah.
Right? Well, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Each process in life can be approached from any vantage point or any point of view, and respectively, you need to approach each and every single one of those situations from a balanced standpoint. Ground yourself. Make sure that you're level-headed when you take on important tasks, or when you're preparing for something. Make sure you're really in tune with what's going on around you, because understanding the world around us is part of the process. In the physical world, we all live in it.
Yeah.
And we are the creators of our own destiny. We create each and every moment that we are in right now.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Which kind of segues into the whole finding your center.
Yeah.
As in, what is your yoga? What
Right.
is your, which is now, we're going to speak the key word for today. What is your meditation? Keyword meditation.
Yep. Get your coffee. It's delicious. The Loaded Goat is phenomenal. Their lattes are good. Their
Oh, yeah.
roast is good. Their dark roast is good.
You got to get their Cinnabon. So good.
Be in a
And-
coma afterwards, but that's all right.
Yeah. Go back, let's touch base on it. You know, meditate. Yeah, meditation is hard for some. Me personally, I have a hard time actually sitting down and silencing my brain. So I find my own form of my yoga.
Right.
Is in what we're doing right now.
Sure.
So I have peace of mind when we're doing this, and
It's a moment to really just breathe and forget about
Yeah.
everything else.
a moment to find the balance with the universe, right? Because balance is, like I said, is a key to existing and living a fulfilling, happy life.
It also, to kind of get a little bit off subject here. My last subject of discussion, I believe it was yesterday, was about friends.
Yeah.
What makes a friend, right? What is a friend? And when you develop a relationship with somebody, you have to make sure that it's a healthy relationship. You actually carry me when maybe I'm down and out, right?
Oh yeah.
Or when I'm doing well, you say, "Well, that was awesome. You're doing good. Keep going." You actually compliment my good and bad, and that's what real friends are for.
Yeah.
A lot of people out there I see develop maybe not the most genuine connections with people, and allow certain people to remain in their lives even through toxicity.
Yeah.
And, friends are supposed to add a balance to your life. They're supposed to really complement the things that you do or carry you through the things you can't handle. So that's just one thing I really wanted to throw out there and get my point across with, because with social media and the way that things are now, it's quite hard to find those genuine people. Your friends, you should only be able to count on your hand. One hand. If
Yeah.
you're counting more, that might be one too many friends. And let's just get real here. Nobody has over 1,000 friends.
Yeah. I mean, friends, we talked about it in a few videos ago, a few weeks ago, as in surrounding yourself with good vibrations. And that's what friends are really going to do. They're going to vibe well with you, and that's what's going to keep that relationship healthy and strong.
Oh, yeah.
And, with moving forward and the whole peace of mind I wanted to touch base on is because when you have peace of mind, you'll understand that things do lay out and that you don't have to force it to lay out, and you don't have to just sit back and let it happen.
That's that feeling of being one with everything.
Yeah.
is when you're just in that content moment where you're breathing and you don't even notice.
Yeah, they always say everything happens for a reason, and I am a strong believer in saying that.
Absolutely. So I guess we'll jump right into it. This upcoming week, I'm going to really be talking about the subject of, excuse me, acceptance. And what it really means to accept the world around you, to accept maybe the situation that you're in, to accept the challenges that are brought your way, and really dive deep into the depths of acceptance. I feel it's a tough subject to talk about, and there's plenty of situations where if you avoid the truth, then you're only doing more harm than good.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna touch on that this week.
Yeah, I mean that's a good subject, as in, perfect transition from balance into acceptance.
Sure.
Because you need a balance in order to accept oneself. Because if you don't accept yourself, you're not going to go forward.
You
with
can't.
anything. You can't accept anything.
No.
And this week, I'm going to talk about mindfulness. And what mindfulness really means to me is just like being in the moment at all times. Because sometimes we like to, I talked about it last video, we like to prepare for the unknown, which will only make it detrimental for our health and our mind. Because you can't prepare for the unknown.
Well, here's something I'm a firm believer in, right? You tell yourself something enough, you start to believe it.
Yeah.
So if you're speaking to yourself negatively every single day, you're gonna be a negative person.
Yeah.
If you tell yourself positive things, I always say it in my writings, look in the mirror and tell yourself you love yourself.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first step to creating positivity for yourself. Self-talk is such an important part of mindfulness that is thrown by the wayside and not even taken seriously. What you tell yourself is the starting point for who you are as a human being.
But don't get it mixed up with, actuality, reality, and idealistic. There's ways to perform each act.
Sure.
So
and you could actually throw yourself off balance with that whole acceptance piece.
Yeah.
By saying this isn't true, this isn't true, this isn't true, or no, this job is mine. That's mine. I'm gonna be a millionaire one day. Like, hold on, hold your horses. Let's get back to earth and accept the fact that you're not there yet.
Yeah.
You can get there, but you're not there yet.
They always say snap back to reality.
There goes gravity.
So that's why I want to talk about mindfulness, because you definitely have to be mindful into everything you do.
Yeah.
As a kitchen manager, I need to be mindful on how I speak to my employees. I need to be mindful about the safety of my employees. I need to be mindful about just the day and the week and what's going on. And that's why mindfulness, it's a really big subject, but you need to be aware, which you talked about a few weeks ago.
Yep.
You need to be aware of your mind.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You need to be aware, and also just full force. I think most of the topics that we talk about are broad topics.
Yeah.
I could have talked about balance for a whole nother 2 weeks if I really wanted to. But that's the beautiful thing about the things that we do speak of. They're conversations that you can continuously have.
Yeah.
You're only learning more and more about these things we speak about.
Oh yeah.
There's no end.
Yeah. We learn more and more about ourselves every time we do a subject.
Oh yeah.
We see what we could work on, because we could always be worked on to be a better person for ourselves.
Absolutely, and that goes back to your body being a biological machine.
Yeah.
You have to take the screwdriver and tighten nuts and bolts sometimes.
Yeah.
There's no continuous way to be perfect. You always have to wake up and strive towards something more.
Oh yeah. I mean, It's like motivation. Motivation is a daily routine, you know? It's like sipping on the coffee, you know? It's your daily cup of motivation, you
That's
know?
it. That's right. So I guess we'll wrap it up. You know, and this week, let's hit it with a bang, and you know, let's just get it. All rivers lead to the same ocean. Just don't swim upstream. Have a good day.